state senator from the 13th District, the Republican. That is Prince William and part of Loudoun County. State Senator Dick Black. Senator, good to have you with us.
Good morning, John. Good to be here.
Now, Senator, I've got Mike Watson in studio with me, a former House of Delegates member from the 93rd District. So I just want to give you that heads up. Now,
oh, yeah, Mike. Good to see you.
Good morning, Senator.
Now, he did announce that he's not running in the 93rd District, so he made Monty Mason's day, week, month. Monty's all fired up. Now we have Monty as the favorite to win that seat, where we had him as the underdog. Mike's out. We'll see. There should be another candidate emerging. We'll check that out. Hey, Senator, I want to get, if I can, let's start with, I hate to give these numbers out, but for you political junkies out there, it's House Bill 712, your college sexual assault bill that requires a sexual assault to get out of the college system so that it basically can't get shoved under the rug there. Can you share with our audience where that is and how you see that playing out, sir?
Yeah, actually, it's Senate Bill 712. What's going on, with all the publicity with Hannah Graham, it's given us a window of opportunity to actually do something about campus sexual assaults. I think there's been a widespread understanding among people for years and years that the colleges, they don't like bad publicity, which is understandable. And when there is a rape or other serious sexual offense on campus, they prefer to just handle it administratively. Maybe the assailant is allowed to drop out of school, and nothing hits the papers and that sort of thing. Problem is that allows sexual predators to go from school to school. We had that in the Hannah Graham case. Apparently, the fellow who's alleged to have committed the rape murder is also alleged to have committed 3 other murders and rapes, and he dropped out of a couple of colleges after allegations of rape had been made against him. Now, I can't give you the details of exactly how those were handled, but we do know that colleges have a tendency to try to buffer these things so that rather than getting them into traditional law enforcement realms, they're handled internally and given sort of a light brush over and sweep them under the rug type of approach. And we're trying to avoid that. We want a rape to be treated as a crime, put into criminal channels and handled there.
Now, Senator Black, there's been some who have been in opposition to this says that, look, we can handle it internally. It takes our authority away. That's kind of poor of the opposition. And I talked to Minority Leader Dick Saslow about it yesterday in his office, and he said that it's people are trying to water it down, and he said it doesn't make any sense at all. What do you say to your critics?
Well, it's interesting. I'm probably Ralph Smith is a great conservative down there, and he and I are both quite conservative. So we're on the one pole, and then you got Dick Saslow, who's very liberal, and yet we really see completely eye to eye on this issue. Dick says that over many years he's sort of had a change of heart, and
yep.
And he says, look, if you commit a rape 200 feet off of the campus at VCU, it's reported to the police and it's handled as a crime. If it happens on the campus, well, then it goes to some committee and it's watered down. So there are people, and I think there are some students who have been convinced by faculty members that, hey, it's better to just quietly handle these things. But, the students tend to say what their faculty tells them to say. I think it's time, while we've got the public attention, it's time to fix this problem once and for all.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And when Dick Black and Dick Saslaw are on the same page on something. Cats and dogs living together in harmony. I would say that's something you want to take notice of. We're with Senator Dick Black, Republican, 13th District. Senator, I want to get to Common Core, which, by the way, we think it's up today in the state Senate. You're on a mission, which I think is pretty simple. And so I want you to elaborate a bit. But you're basically on a mission that says, look, we're not going to have any Common Core without the state legislator endorsing it, right? Otherwise, it's just federal overreach.
What we're saying is that we're not going to allow the Board of Education to unilaterally adopt this. If they decide they want to do it, we're going to go. It's got to go before the General Assembly, where we can have a complete hearing. This is really an interesting area. Now, Virginia does not have Common Core. We're one of the few states that did not adopt it. This thing was propelled by about $250 million from Bill and Melinda Gates. A group of very wealthy people decided they knew a better way of doing things, and they crammed this thing down the state's throats. And it started off with sort of an uprising of conservatives, and then an uprising of libertarians, and now the teachers' unions that are having to deal with it are becoming really adamant against it. It has turned into it's another one of these top-down, federal-driven mandates that is a disaster. The children just hate it. Simple math problems like adding 13 and 27. They make you go through like 7 steps to come up with an answer, and you'll see videos on the internet of children just bursting into tears when they have to do it, because it doesn't make any sense. It's nonsense. And there was a great article that was in U.S. News and World Report back in August of 2014, and it talked about Common Core in free fall, and it said how in 2013 over 3/4 of the teachers supported Common Core, and 1 year later it had fallen to less than half of teachers. And the reason is that they are for the first time beginning to experience what it really is, and the support has just plummeted. For some reason, the administration is reluctant to let the bill go through. It's a little up in the air. They put it off from a vote yesterday because I think they realized that it was going to fly through. So we'll see what happens today. But definitely the public does not want Common Core standards, and I want to stop it if I can.
Well, you keep fighting the good fight, because it's what you're saying makes sense, and we absolutely have to stop it, and it's just not in anybody's best interest, especially our school children. And on the line with us, visiting with us, State Senator Dick Black, Republican, 13th District, part of Loudoun, Prince William. Senator, those of us that live in school districts like me with failing schools that we just can't send our child there, like the area, love my neighbors, can't send my child to that school, period, have to send them to Catholic school. Where are we on the A through F scoring system for schools? Right? Because, I mean, it is what it is. Why can't parents know what the deal is?
Well, I think that's a good question. First of all, we know that that public schools have been deteriorating for the last 50 years. I don't know that we're going to see a dramatic change in that. I think until we have complete school choice and parents can elect to go wherever they want, whether it's religious schools, whether it's private schools, public schools, I don't think we're going to see significant progress. Now, one of the things that we did do is we passed a bill last year that would put a letter grade on schools, A through F, and it seemed like a good idea. It has proven to be pretty unpopular, and the reason is that to some extent you get the kind of school that is a reflection of the student body and the economics and the locality. We had a principal from a wonderful principal, by the way, from a little school in Bristol, and she described how a major part of their school body, they actually have to wash their clothes when they come into school so that the kids have got a clean set of clothes to wear for the week. And she said, they will never get, beyond the lowest grade. They've got a turnover. I think she said that like a third of the school body turns over every 6 months or so, just because they're so transient and that sort of thing.
Right.
So we're taking a little bit more nuanced approach. We're going to have the State Board of Education develop standards that will be descriptive. We'll let the parents know, but we're a little bit concerned about stigmatizing the students who are good students coming from an F school, and also the teachers. It's very difficult for us to recruit public school teachers who want to go and teach at an F-rated school. So it's one of those things. I think we just need to tweak it a little bit. We're still going to have ratings for the schools, but they will not be quite as stigmatizing as they were before.
Senator Mike Watson here. I in full disclosure, I actually voted for that bill through the A through F system, and it's not because I thought it was the perfect bill. I think it was a little too narrow, too simplistic. But I did think it was really important to have a grade applied or some easy way for parents to be able to measure the quality of the school, prior to moving to a neighborhood. And I can tell you the realtors who have been really good friends to me did not like my support of that bill. And obviously, if you're in an area that has a D rating or F rating, then that's not going to help property values. But you alluded to something earlier about the families and the children, and one of the key things we want to do is get parents involved in the school system. And if I'm a parent and I'm in a school system that it's affecting my property values, my students aren't getting good education, and this grade is low, I'm going to get in there as a parent and try to make changes, whether it's to the school board or the superintendent, however it is. So I really believe there needs to be some type of a grade system or some type of an easy, identifiable way for parents to be able to evaluate the school. So in lieu then of this A through F, have you got recommendations there?
Well, Mike, I appreciate your vote because I voted the same way. In fact, I was the tie-breaking vote. Governor McDonald called me over to his mansion, and we sat and argued for about an hour. And I told him I had great reluctance because of the stigmatization. But at the same time, I do think that we do need to have an evaluation so that the parents can know what's going on. And the legislation directs the Board of Education to come up with a redesign of a school performance report card that's going to be effective in communicating to parents and the public the status of the public schools, but it will not be quite as stigmatizing. I worry a little bit about the kid who's going to an F school and mom and dad say, okay, you got to study, and the kid says, well, wait a minute, you're sending me to an F school, and yet you want me to...
Right, that is an issue. Hey, Senator, we're out of time.
These are really kind of the two sides of it, and I understand both, but this seems to be the direction we're headed.
Senator Dick Black, we're out of time. We want to thank you for being with us.